Here we help uncommon knowledge become common and inspire entrepreneurs to truly step out and own it so they can live happy and fulfilled because life was meant to be blissful. And as you know, I love to bring on special guests and conscious entrepreneurs to help you truly be inspired, to get motivated, and to fill the knowledge gap that there's so much we just don't know. We don't know yet. And so we have Larisa here today, and I will let her introduce herself and give you a little bit more information about it. But just so you know, you are in the energy and the presence of somebody super great today. So thank you so much for being with us on the show.
Yay, Heather, I am so happy to be here. I am really looking forward to being here because I know our paths have crossed over the years in many different ways, through people we know, through organizations we've been involved with, through a lot of material we've studied. I know you're a fan of Neville Goddard, so I've got him on my desk at all times, and I'm so honored to be here. So thank you so much. I have been in this world of personal growth and development for probably about 2 decades. And I remember when I first got started, it was something I was really resistant to. And these days, I have the opportunity and I have the ability to really work with high achieving women to help them achieve levels of success beyond what they dreamed of. And most often, what I realize is women don't realize that their external results are telling the world they're successful, but inside they just feel like a fraud, or they feel like they're destined for more. They feel like they're capable of being, doing, and having so much more in their lives. And there's nothing more than I love than to be able to help them move forward and live that life of absolute fulfillment. And I know that's something you're very familiar with as well. And I'm, like I said, so happy to be here.
I love it. And so we've crossed paths studying NLP. We've crossed paths studying Bob Proctor's work. We've crossed paths studying with Kelly Roach coaching. You've worked with my sister, and then we met. And so the universe often is like, hey, by the way, you guys should be friends. You should hang out. And so I wanted to have you on the Own It show because you're a wealth of knowledge. Your energy is amazing. You're forward thinking. You're conscious, and you're here to help people step into the light and truly live a life to be happy and fulfilled, because that's what we're here to be. So today we're talking about how to create more abundance in your life. So you have the Abundance Academy. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay. Well, at the Abundance Academy, our mission is to help people radically expand their lives and expand the lives of future generations across the globe. We are here to make a positive, radical impact in the world, especially through really good thinking. It all really does start in here. It starts in here, and it starts with the energy we bring to things. One of my favorite quotes is by Albert Einstein: everything is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of that which you desire, and you can't help but get it. This is not philosophy. This is physics. And I know in my background, I have a really diverse background, which has come from so many different places, but my family never grew up entrepreneurial, right? I didn't have examples of entrepreneurship, yet something in me led to a very unconventional professional career, let's say. The first half of my life, I was in the entrepreneurial space, and I wore so many different hats, from financial services to photography to the world of real estate investments to health and wellness. And it was going all over the place. And I remember growing up, I had such a small and limited way of thinking. I used to be confused and inferior, like the world was out to get me. I don't know if anyone here can relate to that, because so often that's conditioned in us. And what I started realizing when I fell into this world of personal growth and started dabbling in entrepreneurship was that there was a good life out there. There was something more out there, and I didn't know how to find it, but I was so incredibly curious. I wanted to know more. I wanted to sink my teeth into it. And it was exciting because it gave me hope. And I think that hope is what we want to do with Abundance Academy, because people were always saying, oh, you have so much potential. I'm like, well, where is it? And one of the things I didn't realize, it was right there inside me. And for the second half of my career, I found myself managing, I was a managing director for a company, and going from entrepreneurship to going on payroll, I bawled my eyes out just out of principle. It was very different. And even though it was a company that I was working for, I felt like I was taking a step backward. However, I had so many beautiful opportunities there to work with people I loved, to learn beautiful skills, to start creating transformation in the world I had only dreamed of in the past. And sometimes God gives you opportunities that you don't know, like you don't know why they show up, right? And it's easy to connect the dots looking backwards instead of looking forwards. We try to connect them and predict them, but when you look back, you go, oh, well, this is how everything worked out for the exact right reason. And I remember I had an opportunity to get into business again after spending more than a decade with this company. And it was in the coaching space, doing what we're doing now. And I remember my husband standing up and saying, Larisa, are you going to consider this? And I'm like, I don't know. I have a job I love. I work with people I love. I make good money. We have a good steady paycheck. I have a house. We have the house. We have the car. We have everything I've always wanted. And then he's like, but if you keep doing what you're currently doing, is it going to get you to where you need to be? And my heart just like sunk to the floor. And I think we all have moments like this where we think we're living this life of abundance. And I couldn't tell him yes. This voice of intuition spoke and it was just like so loud. And I had to say, like, okay, I'm going to make a shift, because intuition was saying, I can't stay here anymore. I have outgrown this current level of what I thought abundance was. And so Abundance Academy is really about helping those of us who are successful, those people that are successful and have almost reached that plateau, say, okay, knock, knock, knock. It's time to shake things up in your world. It's time to wake up and really, truly achieve what you're meant to be. And so that was how Abundance Academy was born. Ready, fire, aim. And over the course of the time, we've taken imperfect action, and we've been able to help thousands and thousands of people across the globe, which just makes my heart sing because it feels absolutely incredible.
I love that. And so, just for everyone, what happens when you reach that plateau? You get to where maybe you thought you were supposed to go, what society told you, and you get there and you match it up and you're like, okay, here's the abundant life. But there's always an empty feeling. There's a lack, there's something missing. And we get into depression and disease if we don't fulfill that. So what would you say to the people who are stuck there and ready and wanted to make that jump? And what's the impact if they don't?
Yeah. And like you were saying, like you can get into that dis-ease or disease, literally. Often when you reach that plateau, you just start going through the motions of life. And this is something I see in a lot of successful women. They're so busy, right? Really, really, like you wear the busy pride of the badge of pride, the badge of honor, right?
Yeah,
It's like
my joke is busy's not sexy anymore.
busy's
Let's
not
stop
sexy.
that.
And you're just rushing around, or you're not enjoying your life. You finish at the end of the day and you just crash and burn because it's not that same level, but you get so much adrenaline during your day that you don't know how to live another way. And when you start going through those motions of life, your income hits a plateau, when you don't find joy in your days, then life becomes unfulfilling. And I think that's a big red flag if you're, especially mothers, right? Mothers tend to be all things to everyone and do things for almost everyone else but themselves. And there's like a loss of identity. And so one of the biggest things is when you can recognize that, you can actually change it. But until you actually acknowledge it and recognize it, you can't do anything about it.
Absolutely. And the first level is awareness, right? You have to be able to observe and be aware that this is no longer fulfilling me. I've hit a level where I'm just going through the motions. So I could probably walk through today with my eyes closed, which means there's no more growth or meaning or purpose really for me here. And I'm kind of stuck on autopilot. So for those who are at that moment, what's on the other side of it if they make the leap?
What's on the other side of that? Let's just say when you make the leap. And when you make the leap is your choice. But when you make the leap, you start to wake up, like you spring out of bed because you have something to look forward to. You want to get out. You beat the alarm because you want to get up and out of your day. You make choices. You can say no to things. And you do it unapologetically. You start doing the things that you've been putting off and maybe procrastinating on. And I'm not just saying like some of the tasks on your to-do list. I'm saying really important stuff, like writing that book or taking that dream vacation or buying yourself that purse that you've been looking online and just like, oh, well, it's for them, it's not for me. Or taking chances that you've never been willing to take, but you've always wanted to, right? The stuff that you look on Instagram and see other people do and experience, you start to say, I'm going to do that too. I'm not going to let other people live the life that I want. I'm going to start living my own life. And I remember I was at a conference, a Proctor Gallagher conference with Bob Proctor, and I was at lunch with a woman, and I wrote about this in my book. And I'll never forget this moment because she was telling us about a client she had worked with, and he was just putting things off and putting things off and putting things off. And all of a sudden, she just got really direct with him, and she's like, "So you're telling me that nothing, you're never gonna be ready, right? There's never gonna be a right time, right? The lights are not gonna be all green ever. And if you keep putting this one big decision off, you're going to just procrastinate your life away. And procrastination is suicide of your dreams on the installment plan." And when I heard that, I was just like, oh, it's
Oh
like
my,
she's speaking to me. It was so eye-opening, let's just say. I was
procrastination is suicide to your dreams in an
dreams.
installment plan.
Yes.
Put that on a t-shirt.
I know. I'm just like, and that really stood out to me. And that started to get me to ask myself, like, what are some of those things that I haven't been doing? I haven't had the courage to do. And what are some of the things that I actually have had the courage to do and haven't recognized? Because so often people are further ahead in life and they don't take the time to acknowledge it. And if you don't even take the time to acknowledge it, it's almost like you might as well not have it. You might as well not do it. This stuff is basic. It all sounds basic. However, we need constant reminders. We need that constant drip. And you're always going to have to come back to basics. There's so much knowledge out there. People don't need more knowledge. They just need to learn how to organize the knowledge they have and what to do with it so they can use it in a purposeful way. And so they can keep coming back and checking in on themselves and really getting to know them better than anyone else. And when you get to know yourself better than anyone else, you walk, you talk, you show up with confidence, no matter what.
I love that. And when you can have the organization and the application of the principles of your foundation for success, regardless of what's going on in the economy, in the world, if people are telling you to be or do something different, you know who you are. It's an iron rod. You have a lightning pole that is shooting you to where you're going, and you just get to take the organization and application of what is next for you and put it in place. And you can keep moving forward no matter what with that confidence. With that confidence and with the faith, because we build that faith over time when we do it day in and day out. But like you said, there is just like, especially with the internet these days, you want to Google something, there's 1,000 ways you can do it. People got 1,000 different tools and resources and tips and tricks for you. But it really all comes down to the foundation, the key principles of truly operating in this reality to make it happy and fulfilled. But we're just not taught it in schools. It's just not taught. It's not commonly known. It's not commonly talked about. It's not your average conversation. Oh, well, how do you get up and live a happy and fulfilled life? When has somebody asked you that? Never.
Well, Gay Hendricks in The Big Leap, he asks a question, and it's really powerful. Are you willing to be happier more of the time? Are you willing to let good things happen more of your days? Are you willing to let your whole life be really good? I may be paraphrasing, but that's right in the front of his book. And when I asked myself that, I was like, wow, that's a great question. And when you start asking good questions, you start getting really good answers. And what you focus on really does expand. And I think this is something else I wanted to touch on in terms of abundance, right? We're talking about abundance today. So often, like, we need to get to know ourselves, who we are, what we want, and how we operate, right? It's all about us getting to know ourselves better than everyone else. We also want to learn how the world works, because there's so many crazy things happening in the world right now. And whether it's change happening globally, whether it's change happening in the economy, whether it's change happening in your life, maybe you're getting married, maybe you're moving to a new home, maybe you're moving to a new city, maybe you've got kids shifting their dynamics, whatever it is. Any kind of change will always bring disruption. And when you really know how the world works, when you are in tune with basic laws that we refer to as the laws of the universe, I know you're pretty intimately connected with them. When you know how the world works and you can start operating by law, you can start responding instead of reacting. Because, like we were talking about awareness, when you have awareness, you start to have knowledge. And even though you may not know the outcome of that specific thing, you know the basic principles. And then you could start to have faith because you know how those basic principles work, and you can own, right? Own it. You can own it. You can own your own position. You can take responsibility for your part and show up with elegance, with grace, unapologetically, no matter what is happening in your life or in the world. Because the fact is, we all have a choice. And that choice, making that choice to show up like a freaking rock star, even if crap's happening in your life. Ooh, not the most
swear away. It's okay. We're all good with that.
The fact is, stuff happens. And how are you deciding to show up? Who are you deciding to serve? What challenge are you deciding to take on and move forward with in spite of any obstacles that come your way? And can you do it in a composed manner? Can you do it in a way that really is making the world a better place? Like on my vision board, I have a company vision board that I love. It sits on my desktop. It's all over. And I have a picture of ripples in a pond, right? When you drop a pebble in a pond, it's got the ripples. And when you have those ripples, that's the ripple effect we're trying to make. We're trying to make a ripple effect in our lives. We're trying to make a ripple effect in the lives of others. And when we do, that really is when magic absolutely happens. And it starts by one good thought. It starts by asking a better question. It starts by making a more intelligent decision because you know that things are going to always work out for you. Everything is always working out for you. Abraham Hicks says so.
Whether you know it or not, it is working in your highest good. Everything is divinely orchestrated in divine right timing. And for us who are learning, so for many of us, we've had mentors to understand how we need to operate or how we operate or how the world operates in accordance with the universal laws. And for a lot of people, it's a new conversation. So universal laws, just in the simplest terms, could you explain to people what those are?
Yeah. So universal laws are, let's say when you're in sports, you have rules of a game. When you know how to play the rules and you follow the rules, you're pretty confident in the outcome. You know how to get points, and you know how to win that game. There are rules in terms of how the world works. I'm going to just use this example of gravity. Okay. This is an example of a physical law. So we have a lip gloss. If I drop it, it will fall here. It will fall for my clients in New Zealand on the opposite end of the globe because we have something called gravity. Universal laws are things like the law of vibration. We talked about it with Einstein. Everything on Earth vibrates. And when you realize that, and you realize that not just energetic frequencies over the phone, right? We have energetic frequencies that vibrate here to connect us to one another.
We also we're connected in different places in the world right now, and you guys are watching and listening simultaneously on a frequency, on a vibration.
Absolutely. Our voices have frequency. Music has frequency. Scents have frequency. Colors have frequency. And you can Google this stuff. Like it might seem a little strange if you're not used to it, but everything has a frequency. And when you understand that, you also start to realize that things like your thoughts have frequency.
They're a thought impulse.
Your feelings have frequency. And we've all been in a room where someone walks in and they're just like, ooh, they've had a bad day. That's not a good frequency. That's not a high frequency. We've also had the other experience where someone walks in and you're like, oh, my breath is being taken away. I want to spend time with that person, like wow, I get goosebumps. I'm even getting goosebumps now. Like, we all have those moments where we've seen that person that's just a breath of fresh air. They're operating on a different frequency. And when you start to realize that, you can start to self-monitor and check in with yourself. Like, what is my frequency? Even if you don't know all the technical stuff around it, you could be like, is it good? Is it okay? Is it not so good? And what could make it better?
And I love to say,
Better.
and what can make it better is let your feelings be your compass.
Yeah.
Let your feelings be your compass. If you're not feeling good, you're not on a good feeling frequency. And as Louise Hay would say, was reach for a better feeling thought, right?
Yes.
So reach for that better feeling thought. So right now, if everyone just pause, ask yourself, I just want to do a little exercise. How do we feel right now? Everyone do a personal check-in. Take a big deep breath. How are we feeling? Did we rush around this morning? Did it feel a little chaotic? Were we peaceful and at ease and sitting in gratitude and saying thank you with every step? Did we pause to be present, to thank for everything that we currently have, for all the abundance, to practice the art of achievement and the satisfaction of now? Or are we just waiting for the next thing to come? So check into your frequency right now, your feelings right now, how you're feeling. That's your first hint to actually own your power and to tap into the universal laws. And for some people, when you say universal laws, you're like, oh, that's woo-woo. Okay, great. You can call it quantum physics. You can call it quantum mechanics. It's a science that you just don't know about yet. That's all. That's cool. Energy's created. Energy's neither created nor destroyed, only transferred, right? Ice, water, steam. You just have to change the frequency to reach that goal. So everyone pause and just think about what you're really grateful for right now. Take a moment in your life. What do you have right now? Practice now. Look at the abundance that we currently have. Be happy and content with it. Then we can actually attract and be in more abundance, because that's the frequency where the rest of the abundance you're waiting for, it's on that current frequency you can tap into right now of being grateful for what you have right now, for the abundance of what you have right now, because I bet you where you are right now is once where you wish you would be. Remember that, right? Where you are right now is most often where you once dreamed of. And soon this will be a past memory and you'll be in the new spot thinking, oh, this is once where I dreamed of. Remember that moment when Heather said, cast your vision. What is it that you truly want? And soon you'll be there too, but you can only get there by being grateful for now. So today, like you said, we're talking about how to create abundance in life. You have the Abundance Academy. You're helping people get over the plateau of living lives what they thought they were supposed to live and thinking they've capped their success, when really they just are beginning to crack the egg open to awareness and abundance and a whole new quality of life. Yeah. So your tips have been exceptional. You are amazing. And I know you have a few more things to add to people, but I want everyone to just to take the moment and be in the now for the rest of this episode.
It really is about being in the now. And thank you for encouraging people to do that. Just taking a breath, because joy, gratitude, love, those are the highest frequencies out there. And when you can find joy or love or gratitude for something, even if it's something small.
Like the air you breathe, that you got up today, that you were alive, that your health is keeping you alive, for the fresh lemon water I freshly squeezed this morning.
Love it. Love it. It really is that simple. And so often people are, I am all for being more, doing more, having more. I think we should have the luxuries of life and indulge in them. However, until we get present with now, we will never be in a position to have it and appreciate it. Because even if we have it, it'll slip away, either mentally, emotionally, spiritually, in some capacity. People are looking for the instant microwave meal version of a quick fix, and it doesn't work that way. But one of the things that people need to do is, like you said, take time. You had us take time right here to focus on something. And it's a matter of taking time to carve your path and really chart that path for the future. And when you do that, you set yourself up for an abundant life. You set yourself up for that rich and fulfilling life. And who doesn't want that? Like, everyone wants that. It might look different to each and every one of us. Ultimately, we all want the same thing. We want happiness, health, wealth, and good things in our world. And that comes from good relationships. That comes from keeping our bodies in check. That comes from keeping our bank accounts very plentiful and keeping our minds on point. Those are the 4 pillars to really step into that world of abundance, right? Health.
Would you repeat that yeah, you repeat it again
Health,
for everyone, just to double check that.
health, wealth, and in this case, I'm saying wealth as in money, not just, you can have wealth in other aspects, but health, wealth as in money and assets, relationships, which tend to bring a lot of us happiness, and mindset. And mindset really is what encompasses everything. Like, I think it's so important that we bring extra attention to it, because if we don't, mindset is everything. And when we show up with the right mindset, we work magic. We can be motivated to jump out of bed because we have something to live for.
And so I've just been speaking to a few people, and we'll wrap it up in a second, but I have one more question for you. So I asked people, we're creating a new program for success principles, and asking people what is missing to help them achieve their goals. And one of the biggest questions we've been getting is, how do you motivate yourself? What are your thoughts on that? I'd love to pick your brain.
Okay. How do you motivate yourself? You have something to live for. You need that North Star, right? I have a vision casting workshop that I offer every single month because it is that important. And so often people don't take that time to create that vision. And when you have a reason to jump out of bed, you do. You can be surprisingly motivated when you don't want to do something, but your vision is bigger than your discomfort. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we can go into lots of other like ways of doing that, but the vision, I think, is like the big thing.
Number one.
And people hear it, people talk about it, but until you really take the time to do it, you don't get it. I've had so many people come and they're like, oh yeah, I did like a vision boarding workshop and we stuck some things intuitively on a board.
2016.
and they didn't look at it, and it's collecting dust behind the dresser. And there are certain elements that when you just put them together more intelligently, you really craft that beautiful vision for yourself. And it makes a world of difference. And like I said, you've got to keep evolving it over time because you keep changing over time. Who you were before this call is not who you are now. And oh, Heather, you've changed again. And you've changed again. You've evolved because you evolve with every breath you take, because the world is constantly in motion. We are working with the law of vibration, right? Everything vibrates, nothing rests. We're always, a part of us is always growing and a part of us is always dying. And if you think of it on a cellular level, that's actually a beautiful thing, because we talk about life and having this, we want to honor the parts that have already served us as well, because we have to let a part of ourselves go so we can invite the new to be reborn each and every moment, each and every day. And that just is so exciting.
I love that. And I love to quote Neville Goddard when he says, you need to build the new version of you so much so that your habits, the people you hang out with, everything is different so much that you don't even know where the old body is buried.
Oh,
like the old version of you is buried somewhere. You don't even know where it is. So that's what we want to get to, that new and improved life. And since we're talking about abundance and you were talking about focus, and that is my word for the rest of this year, I want to leave that with the tip of an abundance tip. How do we create abundance? Focus. I think focus is like a magnifying glass. If we have the vision, which is number one, we must have the vision, then we actually get to take the magnifying glass of focus and put it on the vision. And when we do that, it's like taking all of our energy. I think we're like Care Bears and your energy is like kind of going everywhere. But if you put that magnifying glass in front of it, it can go through there and it can magnify and happen quick and easier and so much smoother and more fun than you ever thought. But that focus, that intention needs to be there. So without that vision, our energy is just kind of going everywhere. And that's when the busyness comes in instead of the focus. We can do more in less time.
Yeah.
With less effort, in better energy, and get quicker results with that intention, that focus, and using these incredible mindset and abundance tips that you gave us today. So where can everyone learn more about you, connect with you, share with us?
Best place is either on LinkedIn or my website. We have current events listed on there, and I am active on LinkedIn. So I will make sure to get you both of our profiles. And if anyone is interested in attending a vision expansion workshop, then like I said, I host them every month at this point, and you're welcome to join. It's absolutely free. We spend 3.5 hours diving deep into this. It's not like I don't just teach you the technique and you go off and do it. You actually walk away with a concrete vision that you love and you're excited about, and that lights your fire. So I'll make sure to let you know where people can register if anyone's interested in joining us for that, because it really is the first step. Whether you're that vision virgin or a seasoned connoisseur in the visioneering world, it really is a beautiful experience, because we've all got somewhere to go. And when you're inspired by other people and you can inspire others, there's this collaborative effort, and fireworks just seem to go off.
I love it. And guys, her link to her website is in the links below. We've got everything in the show notes. Make sure you grab it there. Thank you, Larisa, so much for your time, your energy, your wisdom. You guys, you want to check this out. I mean, come on, 3 hours on your vision. If we actually slow down to speed up, the quantum leaps are absolutely possible, and you can have more abundance in your life, and we can show you how. So that is so amazing. Thank you so much. Is there anything last that you want to leave with our audience today?
I would just like to thank you, because I love having conversations like this with people that have a common language and a common knowledge. We could probably talk for 3 weeks on something, and this is totally my happy place. So I just want to thank you for bringing your energy and your gifts to the table, because I have had an absolutely delightful time.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. This is what I live for. My purpose is to serve you so we can all live happy and fulfilled and birth the new earth of unity consciousness, because life is meant to be blissful. So thank you so much, Larisa. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Stay happy, healthy, wealthy. Remember, expect magic and miracles. What's the best that can happen?
Yay.